Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, Week 11 injury report, and then a little bit later on, Ben Rasa from fanvice.com will be on the line to break down the most owned and the best pivot plays for the Week 11 DraftKings Millionaire Maker. We're going to go through the FanShare Sports tags to figure out who people are taking this week and whether or not you should eat the chalk and take some of those guys. Rex Burkhead's very high on that list. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Plus those injury situations, I'm going to touch on them very early on, and we'll dig in deeper a little bit later on when Raza joins me on the show. Do not forget to give the episode a like and go back and check out some of the episodes from earlier this week. Plus, next week we'll have a bonus edition Thursday slate only Thanksgiving slate with Ben Rasa that'll come out around Monday afternoon, maybe Monday evening for the video version. Let's get right into it. Guys that have already been ruled out for Week 11, and I'm looking at you, Rob Kelly. Rob Kelly done for the year with an ankle injury, but he has two other Redskins joining him on that. The center is going to be out, but so is Jordan Reed with a chest injury, Terrell Pryor with an ankle injury, Marshawn Lattimore likely to take out Josh Doxson in this game, and then you're looking at Jamison Crowder, who's kind of uber chalked this week, but in a really good spot, super cheap, manning the slot along with Vernon Davis, plus Chris Thompson out of the backfield are all basically startable here. You can start them, I don't want to say with the utmost confidence, but they're in really good positions to succeed. Other guys that have already been ruled out, Chris Hogan, not going to play with a shoulder injury. That explains a lot of the Rex Burkhead love this week. Mike Tolbert with a hamstring problem will not be playing for the Buffalo Bills. Traveris Cadet will step in as the number 2 behind LaShawn McCoy. But so far this season, Mike Tolbert, 5 touches inside the 5-yard line. Shady, only 7. Remove Tolbert from that situation, and boom, the touchdown expectancy for LaShawn McCoy goes way up. He is a nice play this week. I know he's had 2 bad ones in a row, but this is a great spot for him to get back on track. Although Denzel Perriman being back for the Chargers as of last week really improves their running attack, you still have to go with Shady here, especially with a rookie quarterback who, is likely to check it down a lot to LaShawn McCoy. So keep that in mind. Dwayne Washington going to be out for the Detroit Lions as well in that backfield, leaving Amir Abdullah, Zach Zenner, and Theo Riddick to eat a little bit more. Don't expect a lot of Zach Zenner in this contest. Guys that are doubtful this week, the big name right off the top, Leonard Fournette. Who knows what's happening with Leonard Fournette? He has an ankle problem, trended down on Wednesday and Thursday, did not practice on Friday. That's always a very telling sign. Now he's talking about it as too cold out to play in Cleveland. It's a really shocking situation. Now there's rumors coming out of the Jacksonville camp that they think they can win this game without Leonard Fournette and might sit him down to get him ready for the playoff run and potentially the playoffs. That seems like real risky biz. I know you're playing the Browns, but you're still Jacksonville here. I know Chris Ivory can step in. TJ Yeldon might see actually the biggest role in that backfield if there's no Leonard Fournette, but it's really something to watch. He could end up being a very low-owned play on DraftKings, but I still wouldn't even go with him for the price tag. I mean, if you're playing in a season long, you're going to play Leonard Fournette if he's playing, but that's something to watch out for. We're not going to know that until Sunday morning, so you have to keep track of your lives with that. Check back in Sunday morning, 11 o'clock a.m. on the DraftKings Facebook page, DK Live, with me, breaking down all the injury reports from the days and the best pivot plays and everything like that. More guys that are doubtful for Week 11. We have let's see here. Actually, no, there's more guys that are out. I just kind of steamrolled right past them. Aaron Jones out for the season. CJ Prosite likely done for the season. Ezekiel Elliott on suspension. Alan Hearns with his ankle is not going to play. Neither is Aurelius Bend in that game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I got everyone beat up here. Marquise Lee came off the injury report. D.D. Westbrook likely to be back. Then Cole is going to be probably starting on the outside over Westbrook in that matchup as well. Something to watch out for in that spot. Doubtful, like I mentioned. Leonard Fournette not going to play. Ty Montgomery with his ribs unlikely to play. A.J. Derby unlikely to play for the Broncos with a shoulder injury. Will Fuller and his ribs unlikely to play as well. That means Bruce Ellington gets to step into that wide receiver 2 role along with C.J. Fedorowicz. Should soak up a lot of targets from Tom Savage with Patrick Peterson likely to be locking down DeAndre Hopkins most of this game. DeAndre's still going to get his volume, but how good is that volume going to be? Probably not the greatest. I really like Bruce Ellington as a streamer pickup in season long and $3,000 on DraftKings. Gotta like the Bruce of Ellington. Go with him. The final guy who is listed as doubtful for this week is Albert Wilson with a hamstring problem, which means Demarcus Robinson will likely draw the start for the Kansas City Chiefs in a good spot up against the New York Giants on the road. Still, the Chiefs are 10.5-point favorites in that game. Guys that are likely to play this week, Danny Amendola has been dealing with a hamstring and knee problem, but he's going to be fine. He's likely to play with no Chris Hogan. Expect an uptick for him in the receiving game against a soft Raiders secondary. Other guys in the Ravens backfield, Danny Woodhead is going to be a game-time decision, but he is trending on the verge of playing. Terrence West, with his calf injury, has missed like the last 48 weeks. Looks like he's going to be back too. So now you have Terrence West, Danny Woodhead. Then you have Buck Allen and Alex Collins, who's like shaping up to be somewhat chalky this week on DraftKings. I wouldn't touch any of these guys. If there's one who's going to play, if Woodhead is active, I'd play Woodhead. That's really about it. Collins could be a really good play, or he could get lost in the shuffle of a four-man backfield. I don't think this is one you really want to go out of your way to target right now. At least see how it breaks down for season-long purposes, see who should play next week. For DraftKings-wise, I just avoid them all and go with a better option. But that's me. Maybe you are feeling a bit riskier than I am. Other guys that are likely to play, Phillip Rivers has not quite passed concussion protocol yet, but he's practicing in full. You're going to likely see him under center for the Chargers against the Bills on Sunday. Julio Jones will likely play with his ankle, as will Alshon Jeffrey, dealing with an ankle injury as well. Eddie Lacy with his groin will probably play Monday night, adding the Thomas Rawls spot. Just chalk him down a little bit more. J.D. McKissick might actually become the best play of that bunch, as he is the only one who's not complete garbage, so that's fine. Corey Coleman will return to the Browns with his hand injury. Brandon LaFell was dealing with an ankle all week, and he is expected to play. Then there's Kenny Stills with his back problem. Did not practice on Friday. Tweaked it in Thursday's practice, had to leave, didn't practice Friday, but he says that he's likely going to play. I would watch this situation a lot, because if he sits out, then you're looking at a really good opportunity for Devontae Parker and Jarvis Landry to really pile up a lot of market share. And if not, you want to take a shot on Leonte Carew against the Bucs. That could make a lot of sense too if there's no Kenny Stills around. Everyone loves Jay Cutler, and you want to get some part of that passing game up against a very depleted Bucs secondary. All right? That's going to do it for the injury report. To dig in deeper and talk about the chalk of the week in Week 11 for DraftKings, Ben Rasa from FanVice.com is going to join me on the line. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Pat Mayo Experience. Let's dig into the ownership projections for the Week 11 DraftKings Millionaire Maker using the FanshareSports.com sentiment tags from around the industry to try to get a gauge on who's being talked up this week. Generally, the guys that are being talked up lead to high ownership. Then we can find some pivot plays. And to help me break this all down from FanVice.com, it is Ben Rasa, who will be joining me next Monday for a Thanksgiving Day slate DraftKings breakdown as well. So what's going on, dude?
Nothing much. Just same old Friday for me, sweating the golf, sweating Bill Haas. Pretty much what I do every week during golf season. But this is good. This is the last golf. Then I get to focus starting Monday. Yeah, Turkey Day is here, so good NFL coming up.
I enjoyed that you didn't realize it was Thanksgiving.
I know. I was like, oh, man, you're planning a long way out. I didn't realize that it is right around the corner. This is crazy. Yeah, 2018 is going to be here soon. Very shady.
This is true, and for everyone looking for content next week, almost, I'd say 98% of the industry taking off Thanksgiving. Not Pat Mayo. I'm in Canada. No holiday for me, so fresh shows all the way through. I'm looking to score big here.
Yeah, this is your moment. You got the entire market to yourself.
All right, let's get into running backs. Number one in the sentiment rankings this week is Rex Burkhead. He's coming off a good week. He's an excellent price. Chris Hogan has already been ruled out for this game against Oakland. It's an excellent matchup. I guess the problem comes in. At $3,600, he allows you to do a ton in your lineups this week. But is he going to be too chalky for the potential upside that he brings?
Oh, man, with that price, it's really tempting. It looks like Gillisley's pretty much done, so they're narrowing guys out. Saw right before the show, it looks like Hogan is also sitting, because Burkhead, even though he is a running back, I wouldn't be shocked to see him in the slot here and there, catch some of those balls. So at that price, with the ways they can use him against the Raiders, who are garbage, it's pretty appealing. I don't know how high his ownership really gets. I know he's getting a ton of buzz and the tags are there, but at that price, like you said, it allows you to do so much. It is tempting.
Yeah, well, that's why I think that the ownership might actually end up exceeding what we might project it to be. Like in the Millionaire Maker, I could see him being like 25%.
Yeah, I was thinking right around 20 is probably where he's going to come in. And it's, down there, obviously 20% is like 35% for a real popular guy. God, you never know with the Patriots, though. They just, every time you think you have their production pegged, they do something completely radical. But he's clearly getting more and more of a role as the season goes on.
Is there a situation where you can see going full-time fade on Burkhead this week solely because he's going to be owned by 1/4 of the players? Like you mentioned, he's a Patriots running back. Who knows how this is going to shake out? He appears to be in a really good spot, but for all we know, Dion Lewis is going to score 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with them. They have other options. All it takes is him to fumble, and then he's done. That's how the Patriots roll. It's very volatile. So, although I think he's a very obvious play, and I don't see him killing you, I'm not sure he has monster upside either. I'd be pretty shocked if he gets crazy and gets to 25. I just think that he's going to probably come back with a solid score for you. But if you're looking to go elsewhere, it's not a bad play with a Patriot. You never know, and you'd be, like you said, you can get 1/4 of the field basically out off one guy if you get that fade right.
All right, the rest of the top 10 in sentiment rankings, Burkhead number 1, that's 23 start tags to 1 sit tag. Then you're looking at Kareem Hunt, Melvin Gordon, Elvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, Alex Collins, Chris Thompson, Jordan Howard, Doug Martin, and then Shady McCoy down at the bottom of that list in terms of start tags. He has 8 start tags, 4 sit tags this week, although it just came out that Mike Tolbert is going to miss this game with a hamstring injury. He has 5 inside the 5 touches to LaShawn McCoy's 7 this season. You take him out of the equation, you insert Traveris Cadet into that role, who's going to be playing backup for the Bills right now, and he's not going to be a goal line threat. So could this be a week to actually go too Shady, coming off 2 terrible performances in a row with a rookie quarterback? It seems like people are really torn on him. Of all the top guys, do you think that he is the pivot play?
Yeah, I like Shady this week. Like you said it, they're, without Tyrod, they're down to, it has to be him. They have no other path to put up, offense this week. So I expect them to lean on him, this quarterback. Not that I don't think he could be good, but I assume they try to get him nice, easy throws, and that starts with Shady. I wouldn't be shocked to have, him close to 10 targets this week. And the carries are going to be there. Ownership should be somewhat suppressed because he's burned people 2 weeks in a row. That's always makes it appealing going back to a guy like that.
So he's inside the top 5 when it comes to pricing. It's Gurley, Fournette, Ingram, Hunt, and then McCoy. Who do you think is the best play of those top guys? Because I happen to think it's Gurley, then Shady, then Hunt. And I don't know if I'd play. I mean, Fournette might not even play when it comes to Sunday, but he's just shaping up to be. I mean, the Browns have a good defense anyway, or run defense, that he could just have limited touches.
Yeah, I mean, obviously when you're priced up there, those guys are all super talented. For me, it's probably Shady or Hunt. He's been another one. He's kind of regressed after that ridiculous start, but this is a perfect spot for him. The Giants are, probably the worst team in the league right now. He's coming off the bye. For a rookie, I think that gives him an actual boost because he was probably hitting a wall. And, I just think that's a really, really good spot for him. I don't mind Gurley either, but Fournette and Ingram, I'm not super high on this week.
As GPP flyers this week, I looked down at the min at running back, and with Jeremy Hill out for the season, Mixon's playing the majority of snaps. It's a tough matchup. He's $4,000. I actually don't mind that a lot, despite not loving Joe Mixon. But Gio Bernard is only $3,000. They're underdogs in this game. There could be a lot of short passing, and that's where they like to use Gio. In tournaments, do you have any interest whatsoever?
I don't. I'm a big Mixon fanboy, though. I've been using him week after week, and I just think that he is just taking over. I know, obviously, at that price for Gio, he could catch some balls and make some plays, but for only an extra 1,000, I would actually rather just go Mixon. I don't think he's going to be over-owned in a tough matchup at Denver, which they have limited options. It's basically just him and AJ Green there, so I think he gets the volume to pay off a pretty cheap tag.
The guy that people are gravitating towards in that range, like you have Rex Burkhead at $3,600. Then you have Alex Collins with 12 start tags, no sit tags. I'm going to add to one of his sit tags right now. Don't be playing Alex Collins. Terrence West is back. It looks like Danny Woodhead's going to end up playing. Buck Allen is healthy. I don't know if you can trust any one of these guys. And to see one of them in particular get super hyped is really confusing to me.
Yeah, I mean, every week when you rattle off the tags, obviously I'm listening and you're naming guys, and then you say Alex Collins, and I'm always thinking, who is – I would never – the Baltimore running back and just team in general is a team I always look to avoid. It's a crowded backfield. You never know. I've been burned by Buck Allen multiple times this year. I get the Alex Collins is a decent runner, but I really have no interest, even at that price tag. I would much rather go up to Mixon.
Do you think this is a week where you're going to go pay high, pay low at running back, or double pay up?
For me, I will probably split it most likely. I think that, we talked about these cheapies. I'm not saying all of them are going to get there, but I have a feeling, it would be pretty shocking that they all bust. So I'm going to want some of that, and that kind of opens it up because at receiver this week, there's some pretty pricey guys. Not that it's priced up. A lot of the main studs in the NFL are playing either Thursday or Monday, or they have buys or whatnot. But I think in other spots I want to spend up this week, so I'm trying to save a little at running back.
All right, well, let's switch to receiver and try to find out where we can save some money there. And when you talk about the sentiment tags for wide receivers, they're all not super expensive guys, more of the mid-tier. Sterling Shepard, by far number one in terms of start tags. He has 26 to Amari Cooper's 17. It's crazy to think that Amari Cooper has 17 start tags, 0 sit tags. That blows my mind. But it's Sterling Shepard, Amari Cooper, Jamison Crowder, Michael Crabtree, Bruce Ellington, Mike Evans, Jeremy Maclin, Brendan Cooks, Marquise Lee, and Jarvis Landry are the top 10 the most talked about receivers of the week. Is anyone on that list really scare you? Because last week, Sterling Shepard went off at an incredible ownership in the Millionaire Maker. He won everyone money who used him, and now his price hasn't gone up all that much. He's the mega chalk in a situation that looks really good. Kansas City gives up a ton of fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. There's only really 2 guys in that offense who catch the ball. They expect they're 10.5-point underdogs. They're going to be throwing the entire time. Is he set up to be bad chalk or just chalk you have to eat?
I think obviously a little of both. I see I'm going to have some Shepard this week. There's no doubt. I'm not making a big stand on him this week, but I'm not making a big stand either way. I'm not going way over the field either. Like you said, the Giants have limited options. He's going to see the targets. There's no doubt. And even if they get blown out, it's not, the Giants did nothing last week and he crushed it. The problem for me, it's just, it is a crowded range. He is by some guys. You have Amari there who does scare me, no doubt. But DeAndre Hopkins got a huge price drop. I know Tom Savage is awful, and he'll probably see a lot of Peterson. But, man, just from the volume standpoint, it's pretty appealing at that price tag for him.
Yeah, I mean, I will be playing him, and I will not be playing DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not going to go, and maybe I'm stupid for not going down that route, but just Peterson plus Savage equals bad news. I mean, and I think everyone's sort of on that same train of thought because Bruce Ellington's $3,000, and he's inside the top 5 of most talked about guys of the week, and I like Bruce Ellington.
Yeah, I like him too. I mean, the Texans, it's funny. I don't mind either. Obviously, I will not be using Savage, but I think Ellington makes a lot of sense at the min. It's just Hopkins is going to see 15 to 20 targets, and that really is appealing.
He might, or they might just say, you know what, screw it. Let Peterson be over there on DeAndre. We'll figure out between Fedorowicz and Bruce Ellington, we're going to figure this out.
Yeah, I don't think they have enough. Lamar Miller may get his, and Ellington, he's been seeing the targets. Where I just think at some point, if they're losing, they have nowhere else to go, and it's not going to be efficient targets. It hasn't been, week after week, but that volume, I am interested. I will be buying on DeAndre.
Let me throw this out there to you. Alex Smith is one of the most talked up quarterbacks of the week. We just talked about Kareem Hunt inside the top 5 in terms of mentions. Travis Kelce in like the smash spot of all smash spots against the Giants defense and the tight ends. No one is talking about Tyreek Hill. Is Tyreek Hill the natural Chiefs pivot here? Because Albert Wilson isn't playing, which means we're going to see more of Demarcus Robinson in this game. But if no one's going to be talking about Tyreek Hill and his big play upside for tournaments only, doesn't that make a lot of sense?
Yeah, I mean, Tyreek Hill is like the perfect Millionaire Maker target pretty much every week just because of the way he plays. He could end your week early or he could get 35 on like seven touches. He just has such explosive upside. I think everybody knows that the Chiefs are going to score, but, pegging where that comes from is never easy. We talked about Hunt. You just mentioned all the other weapons. Tyreek Hill kind of does get lost in that conversation, but he's as explosive as it gets. So I have no problem going to him, obviously only in tournaments.
Well, the other guys in that range, it's like Evans, Thomas, Thielen, Hill, A.J. Green, Larry Fitz, Doug Baldwin's on the Monday Nighter, and then Golden Tate's down there as well, in that like 68 to 7,900 range. There's no super expensive wide receiver. Everyone's sort of gravitating towards Mike Evans. People like Michael Thomas this week. I'm not big on Michael Thomas, but it seems like Adam Thielen might fall through the cracks, and it seems like Green and Fitzgerald are going to be super low owned. Would you consider using A.J. Green in what is a just brutal matchup against Denver?
God, I want to because I do like playing him, honestly, in tough matchups because I think he's similar to DeAndre where they don't have a choice. They have to throw towards him. But, man, at Denver, he didn't get enough of – if he was in the 6s kind of where Hopkins and Shepard were, I'd probably be buying. But I don't think I'm going to play much of him. The matchup is just a little too tough for him to return what I'm kind of looking for in a big field tournament.
Any interest in Stefan Diggs, who no one's going to be using either?
I'd rather have Diggs than Thielen,
Really?
just because of the savings, and he's a little more explosive. The Rams, they are impressive. I'm not gonna lie, but I do like Minnesota. I couldn't have been more wrong on Minnesota last week. I did not see that explosive performance going, but at home, I think they get a boost. I do like targeting them there, so yeah, no problem with Diggs this week. He's just really good player, and he does get overlooked.
Are you buying the Jamison Crowder kind of chalk train right now? Because Jordan Reed's going to be out. Terrell Pryor is going to be out. Obviously, Lattimore not going to be covering Jamison Crowder inside the slot. He's probably going to draw Doxson. Rob Kelly is out, so you're going to see a bit more Chris Thompson in the passing game here. But it seems like Thompson and Jamison Crowder are really the two spots, along with Vernon Davis, where the Redskins are going to be attacking the Saints. I mean, they're 7.5-point underdogs. I think that line is a bit too big, but either way, they're probably going to be down and throwing in this game, even if the Saints try to bilk the clock and run the ball, and make this a shorter game like they've been doing. I still think you're looking at close to like 7 to 10 targets for Jamison Crowder, and he's below $4,500.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Jamison Crowder guy. He's just, anytime you say him and chalk in the same sentence, it's a little disturbing. I probably lean to Thompson, in terms of the weapons for the Redskins. I like him a little bit better. I think his volume's a little safer. But like you said, he's not going to draw Lattimore, so that is a boost for him. And the price tag, he's another one of the cheapies down there. If you want to, obviously it's not the same as Ellington because Ellington's the flat min, but don't mind it. I'm not sure he has the monster upside that you want in a tournament like the Millionaire Maker.
Well, a guy who's kind of like that I'm targeting this week is a pivot. If you look into that like $5,000 range, both Oakland receivers are there. They're getting hyped up. Keenan Allen's getting some love. Then it's Marquise Lee at 16 tags right now, 11 starts, 2 sits, only $5,500. I really like Marvin Jones at $5,600. He has 5 start tags, 4 sit tags. People are really torn on him. I don't expect his ownership to be very high at all, especially after he was the chalk last week, severely underperformed, kind of cost everyone a lot of money. No one's going to go back to him in the spot. Golden Tate had the good week last week, so everyone's going to go with him. I know Golladay is back, and I know this is a tougher matchup against the Bears, but I feel like Marvin Jones is one of those guys that could win you $1 million based on his touchdown upside.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of those guys where you have to take the weeks like you saw last week with the weeks that that you could get this week. He's just very volatile. He puts up a couple of sub 5-point weeks, and then he'll have a couple of honestly 30 plus, which is massive. Not a great matchup for him. I definitely think ownership is going to be down because I don't know who would be looking at him. If you did, he probably burned you last week, which people always are quick to jump off these things. So don't mind it as a spot. That's an interesting little range. With him, Lee, you have Devontae Adams, and Emmanuel Sanders is another one who I'm kind of interested in. Mostly going to be paying up a little more. We talked about that Shepard, DeAndre Hopkins, Amare, Landry range. But yeah, no, Marvin Jones as a high upside, high risk, high reward kind of play is always kind of on the board.
All right, let's switch to quarterbacks. Number 1 in the quarterback sentiment rankings, Alex Smith, and it ain't close. 28 start tags for Alex Smith at $6,700. You really could have taken a lot of money from me if you told me before the season that we'd be in Week 11 and Alex Smith would be not only inside the top 3 of most expensive quarterbacks, but he'd be the chalk of the week. It's kind of terrifying a little bit then. And not everyone on the Chiefs is going to score all the points this week, so that makes it kind of tough. But he's number 1. Number 2 is Smokin' Jay Cutler against the Bucks, which is hilarious as well. 0 sit tags, 19 start tags, 0 sit tags, $5,400. I like Jay Cutler, but I don't feel good about it. Then it's Tom Brady, Blake Bortles, Derek Carr, Eli Manning, Blaine Gabbert, Drew Brees, the Fitzmagic, and then Carson Wentz in the Sunday night game. Jared Goff would actually be 10th on that list in terms of the main slate. Let's talk about the pivot plays here, because I actually kind of like Goff a lot. I think if you ran out some Keenum, some Jared Goff, one of them I think is going to hit. And if you go look at the implied totals for this week, that game actually has the second highest over-under of any matchup on this slate. It's really weird, and people are avoiding that game.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams just constantly score every week. I've been lucky. I've been hitting Robert Woods, which is obviously what you want to do. And he's whoever Xavier Rhodes takes away is going to be a problem, but that's more on the receiver side. I don't mind Goff. I like Carr, though. I know he'll probably be more popular, but if you want to get off from Brady, obviously, who's at the top, Carr, they're going to have to throw to keep up. I think New England is just dialed in right now. So that's probably where I'll be going in the mid-range. Yeah, I can't. Alex Smith, you said it. I mean, I see that he should play well, but man, if he's going to be overwhelming chalk, it's kind of a nice spot to maybe be underweight.
Well, is there a reason just not to use Brady?
No, I mean, Brady's fine if you can pay up. You just have to find a way to fit in. You're going to have to use some of those cheapies that we talked about to get him, because you're probably going to have to pair him. I mean, you can pair him with Burkhead, which makes it interesting since he has the receiving threat. So I'll definitely have some Brady, which pains me to say because I hate the Patriots. But, yeah, he's obviously in play.
Are there any pivot quarterbacks you're looking at from down at the bottom? Like Jay Cutler is sort of the one that everyone's dropping down to. Do you have any love for Blaine Gabbert or Tom Savage or one of those other losers?
Well, this guy's definitely a loser, and we talked about him last week, and it was awful. I will play some Fitzpatrick just on the merit that he burned everyone. And if you can tell me he's a third of the ownership of Jay Cutler, I'll take that. I think they both are pretty bad, but Miami's defense is no good either, and he gets Mike Evans back. No one is going to be on him after last week. So not like I'm going to have the exposure I did last week, but I will have some flyers on Fitzmagic again, which pains me to say.
Well, the pivot quarterbacks that I was looking at, I mentioned Goff and Keenum. I think those two are very interesting. The other two would be Stafford, who just everyone's given up on, apparently. The Bears' defense is just too good. I like the Bears' defense, and I think it's a nice matchup for them. That doesn't mean Stafford can't throw for 400 yards because they don't run, and that's what he does. But the other guy is Phillip Rivers. He's going to play after this concussion. He's playing the Bills, and the Bills' defense sucks.
Yeah, I don't mind Rivers. God, I hate targeting the Chargers, though. I never get them right, whether it's Melvin Gordon or him. It does look like he's going to play. That game, though, I think for me it's probably just going to be some shady on the other side. And Rivers will be minuscule owned. I doubt anyone will be on him, especially because he's questionable, even though he should play. So deep dart, but not one I'll be on probably.
Tight ends. Right now, it's Travis Kelce, and that's really about it. 32 start tags, 0 sit tags. He's the most expensive tight end. It's not even close. Tyler Kroft is next. He's $2,900, and he has 24 start tags to 1 sit tag. But are you overthinking it by not playing Travis Kelce? Or do you say, screw this, I'm going to pivot on to Gronk, who's expected to be lower ownership, or pivot on to Ingram? And if that's not something that you want to do and you do want to play Kelce, what's a move to differentiate your team if everyone's going to own him? Is this a week to play 2 tight ends, one in your flex, one in the spot?
Yeah, I think that's always a way to differentiate. I don't mind Kelce. I'll obviously have some, but I think Gronk is the play for me. If you want to get him and Brady, that's a great pairing to start. This is one of the positions where I talked about I'm going to be paying up. I really do prefer paying up at tight end this week. There's not a lot of cheapies that I like. Fedorowicz you briefly touched on. Other than that, though, it's slim pickings, man. This is some ugly, ugly stuff in tight end this week.
The entire top 10 at tight end when it comes to the sentiment rankings, I mentioned it is Kelce number 1, then it's Kroft number 2. Then you're looking at Evan Ingram at number 3. I really like Ingram in this spot, and I don't know, just because he's third in tags, I feel like if anyone's going to pay up for $6,000 for a tight end, they might just pay up for the $7,300 and pay for Kelce. So if you can get him at like 10% ownership, I think this is a great spot. Then it's Gronk, Davis, Mercedes Lewis has 9 start tags, no sit tags. I think I'll take a pass on Mercedes Lewis, even though he's $2,700. You got Jermaine Gresham, Fedorowicz, Cameron Brate at $4,200, and then Jared Cook, who I'm surprised more people. I hate Jared Cook because I just hate his inconsistency, but I'm surprised he's not chalkier this week. I guess everyone just either loves Kelce or wants to pay down. That's how it seems like it's going to go.
Yeah, I think it's his salary that's holding him back. Most people go all the way up or go punt tight end. Rarely do you see guys that are in that like 45 to 5,000 range that are too appealing. I don't mind Ingram either, just because it's a way to get off if you want to avoid Shepard and still get some Giants. Because it's hard to imagine either Ingram or Shepard, one of them just by default is going to have the majority of Eli's passing yards because they have nobody else. So, yeah, I don't mind that. I will probably most likely go and get Gronk, the majority of my teams, though.
All right, let's go to defenses and the number 1 defense of the week, which I loved coming in when they were facing Tyrod Taylor. Now the Bills have ganked Tyrod Taylor. And all of a sudden you have Nate Peterman starting at quarterback, the 3rd best pass rush in the league against the 3rd worst offensive line. Everything is setting up for this to be the chalk. It's setting up to be a great spot. But the thing that we know about defenses is that defensive touchdowns are super capricious, they're high in variance, and you can't really predict them. Now, you want a team that's dropping back to pass a lot against a very good pass rush, giving you those opportunities for sacks, for picks, for fumbles, which lead to touchdowns. Is there a point where you don't play the Chargers defense?
Yeah, for me, just because you talked about this, defense is the highest, variance side. Crazy things happen. It's fluky, points. It's just insane. We saw that week with the Saints where they gave up like 50 points, but they had 3 touchdowns and they scored a bunch. That's what you're looking for. And I don't expect Buffalo to be slinging it. Their job is going to be to stay in that game. So I don't mind going actually right above them to the Texans because Arizona is just a dumpster fire. Honestly, you could go to either defense. Both quarterbacks are so bad in that game. And then my sneaky defense of the week is actually going up to the Broncos at home. I know we talked about Mixon, and I will have some of him, but they are a type of team, they're ball hawking. They can get after Dalton, who's been, we've seen him make some horrible decisions through the years. But defense overall, I don't love it this week. Usually there's a couple that I'm on. I think this is going to be a week where I just try to get some low-owned, high upside and just hope that the chalk kind of crashes.
Well, the entire top 10 when it comes to sentiment rankings this week, the Chargers by far number 1, along with the Jags, who are number 2. They have 16 start tags. They're also the most expensive defense. I do like the Jags in this spot, but it's going to be tough to pay up for defense. Then it's the Bengals, Saints, Broncos, Rams, Cardinals, Ravens, and Lions. I like the Ravens a lot. I'm with you on the Broncos. I think the Rams are super cheap and in a decent spot to attack Case Keenum. But the one that I really like, and I'm shocked that's not on this list, and I liked them last week. Everyone used them last week, and almost like Marvin Jones, they disappointed. And I know I said Stafford could be a good pivot. I know that I like Marvin Jones a little bit, but the Bears defense is number 2 in adjusted sack rate right now, and the Lions are bottom 10 in offensive line. They give up a ton of sacks. They throw the ball a ton. This just seems like a perfect situation for an opportunistic defense. I know the Bears are banged up a little bit, and that could hurt them. They're going to get their D lineman back. Trevathan may or may not play, but I do like them for the price point and the ownership that goes along with them.
Yeah, I think they're fine. They were cheap. I don't remember what week it was, and everyone was on them, and they played great when Eddie Jackson had a couple touchdowns. But, yeah, I mean, if you're going that sub 3K, it's limited options. I'm looking at these teams. I really can't recommend any of them. I'm going to try to pay up for D. It is tough to pay that close to 4,000, if you want to get the Jags. But, man, it's not a week where I'm too confident in the chalk, so I'm just going to kind of do game theory and just hope I can get a low-owned one. Because you said it, touchdowns are, they're almost all luck. It's very, very hard to kind of predict that. It's pretty much fluke situations. You just want to put yourself where you have a guy dropping back a ton, and I could see that with a team like the Broncos.
Would you go to the Saints with the Washington down so many skill position players? Their offensive line is still banged up. The center's going to miss the game. Trent Williams will play, but that's not going to save them from a pretty good pass rush, and it's a game where you expect them to be down. So New Orleans can attack Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins not afraid to turn the ball over, not afraid to score either. And you kind of mentioned it, that it's not the end of the world if the other team scores on you, but you want to get those opportunities to generate touchdown chances. The Saints could be one of those defenses.
Yeah, Saints at home, where they're flying around. Obviously, they're in a groove. They're rolling. So, yeah, I don't mind that. And Cousins going to get his, but that doesn't mean that he won't make some really bad mistakes, too, which is what you're looking for.
All right, Ben Rasa, check him out on Twitter at JazzRazDFS and up on fanvice.com. Plus, Ben will be back Monday for the Thanksgiving slate DraftKings breakdown. You going to be ready? Get some hot turkey picks?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm going to get prepared over the weekend, get my game face on for, turkey special. I'm excited.
Excellent news. Remember, everyone, you can subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience for the audio versions on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Audio Boom, and for the video version up on the DK Live app and the DraftKings YouTube page uncut. Free. I mean, that's a big part of it, too. Free is top-notch. And, it's always on demand, whenever you want it. Good luck in Week 11. Win some cash, all right? Do me a favor. Just go out and have a big win. Someone have a big win. If it's me, if it's Ben, that'd be great. If it's not one of us, hope it's one of you, all right? I'll see you next time.